Hello guys, I hope you're all doing good today. So in this video, we'll talk about basic network setup. So I'm going to take this setup as an example and explain how the traffic from internet is coming to your web server. Okay, so let's talk about the devices which we are going to use in this lab setup. Okay, first one is router. Router is used to connect to internet as well as route the traffic between your infrastructure and internet. Okay. Then firewall. Firewall is to secure our infrastructure. For example, to allow and block the traffics. Core switch is to manage multiple segments. For example, in this example, I have only showed one leg setup. In real world, there will be multiple setups. So in order to manage those, you need a core switch. Access switch is to connect end devices. For example, server, it can be a computer, it can be other internet devices. Okay. Load balancer is to equally distribute the load between the backend servers. Backend server is your web server. Okay. Web server is to serve the customer traffic. Now let's go a little bit deeper and see how the traffic flows into your web server. So first of all, this is our setup. Okay. First thing, customer types our website. I mean your website is hosted in the backend server. You can see the backend server at the bottom, server 1 and server 2. Okay, when the customer types www.vNetes.com, then customer gets DNS resolution and gets public IP. Once that public IP is resolved, then the traffic comes to your router. So that is a public IP. We need to convert that to private IP. So that is called NAT, Network Address Translation. So once that is done, then the traffic moves to firewall. Okay, so what is that private IP? The private IP typically will be your load balancer VIP IP. We'll talk about load balancer VIP IP little bit later. So first go back to our flow. So the router translate the public IP to private IP address, then route it to your firewall. Okay, in our firewall, we might have already written a rule to allow and block traffic. I mean, we'll tell the firewall to allow only these traffic and block other traffics. Okay, so based on that, it will inspect the incoming traffic and act accordingly. So in the next step, firewall sends the packet to core switch. Core switch looks at the packet. Okay, so in this example, this switch is a layer 3, so which is responsible for switching as well as routing. Okay, it acts as a layer 3 switch. Okay, then it forwards that traffic based on the IP address and MAC address table mapping, then it sends to the correct switch. For example, in our case, it's access switch 1. Okay, then access switch receives the frames from the core switch. Then what it does do, it will send to correct port based on the MAC address mapping. Okay, then load balancer receives that traffic and sees IP address. For example, the private IP address. As I said, router will translate that public IP address to the load balancer IP address. Okay, that we are just mapping those IP address. For example, if my public IP is 1.1.1, if my private IP is something like 10.0.0.1, I'll do the NAT, I mean the translation at the router. Okay, now load balancer receives that traffic. Okay, then it distribute that to backend servers. Again, this backend server IP address will be different from the load balancer VIP address. VIP is a floating IP. Okay, then your backend server will be responding back to the customer request. Okay, I mean the incoming traffic. So how the load balancer distributes the traffic to the backend servers? So we have different methods like round robin, For example, first traffic will go to server 1, second one will go to server 2, third traffic will again moved to server 1. Second method is least connections. For example, the server will be selected based on less number of connections. Third one is response time. Whichever server is responding faster, then the new request will be sent to that. And there are many more round methods like round robin and list connections. We'll talk about it in our future video. So that's all. I just wanted to explain and give a brief, not brief, actually explain basic things, how the network works and how the traffic flows through your devices. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you.